When you learn a new language, what are the first words you will study? Is it the food names, the greetings, or the numbers? While all of these are certainly good choices to start with, I'd like to give you one more option to consider. That's the English alphabets, but in your target language's accent. In this way, you don't actually need to remember new words, but still get to feel how your target language would sound like. In this video, I'm going to read all the English alphabets in the Cantonese accent and explain why they sound like that. If you're learning Cantonese, I believe this would be interesting to you. Without further ado, let's get started. A. When you first hear it, you may find this Cantonese A pretty much the same as a normal A. But there's one thing you may not notice. That's the pitch. In English, the pitch tends to drop towards the end of a syllable, like A. While in the Cantonese accent, the pitch stays pretty high and flat throughout the whole syllable. It's because in Cantonese, we perceive the pronunciation of A as a high-tone Cantonese syllable, and we say a high-tone syllable high and flat. This high-tone interpretation applies not only to the letter A, but to all other alphabets as well, as long as we see them as single-syllable sounds. You can see this characteristic in the other alphabets soon. B. You may notice that the phonetic symbol of the Cantonese B here starts with a P instead of a B. It's because the Cantonese B actually starts with an unaspirated P instead of an actual B, like the B sound in the word speed. Even so, it still sounds quite the same as the English pronunciation. As in English pronunciation, the letter B doesn't need to be fully voiced anyway, so you can try to say the Cantonese B by saying B normally, as long as you don't voice it too much. C, D. Similar to the case of the letter B, the Cantonese D actually starts with an unaspirated T. So you can say the Cantonese D by saying D normally, as long as you don't voice it too much. Or you can do it by saying the D sound in the word steel. Yi. Here we put the Y consonant before the E vowel, because there are words in Cantonese that are pronounced Y, but none pronounced E. F. In Cantonese, we can't end a syllable with the F sound, so we need to put the vowel after that, making the pronunciation of the letter F two-syllable. There are a few things to note here. First, a closed vowel like U is used here as it sounds softer, which is good for a vowel that is just there to highlight the consonant. Second, U is chosen here instead of E or U because we have words that are pronounced full in Cantonese but not fi or fu. Third, the Cantonese pronunciation efu is a high-tone syllable followed by a low-tone syllable. So after we say we need to go much lower in pitch to say fu, which means that it's not fu or fu, but fu. All these characteristics I've mentioned here about the Cantonese pronunciation of F apply to almost all English alphabets we say with two syllables. G. We don't have the j sound in Cantonese, so we substitute it with a similar sound in Cantonese. Again, it's a voiceless unaspirated consonant, and it has no lip rounding quality like the English j sound. Although some Cantonese people do read G as G instead of G to create the lip rounding effect. Note that even if you devoice the English j sound, it is still slightly different from the Cantonese j sound. If you want to nail the sound, you can try with different tongue positions until you get the sound. H. Like the letter F, we don't end a syllable with a ch sound or any sound similar to that. So we put the vowel after that, turning the pronunciation of H into a two-syllable sound. And the consonant used here is slightly different from the ch consonant in English. But because the lip rounding is preserved by the use of the U vowel here, the resulting sound appears quite similar to that in English. One interesting thing here is that when we say English words in the Cantonese accent, we tend to end the syllable with a stop consonant if the next syllable starts with a stop consonant or affricate. So the Cantonese H here is not H, but H. I, J, K, L, L, M, M, N, N, O, O, P, P, Q, Q. We don't have the semi-vowel E in Cantonese, so we say it with the proper E sound, practically making the vowel a diphthong, U. Alo, alo. We don't have the R sound in Cantonese, so we use the L sound instead. And like L, we say R with 2 syllables. Asi, asi. T, T, U, U, we. As we don't have the V sound in Cantonese, so we use the W sound here to mimic that, probably because they are both labial consonants. W, W. We also say W with 3 syllables in the Cantonese accent, where the tone pattern is high, low, low. One thing worth mentioning here is that we treat the 3 syllables equally in length, so we don't shorten the last 2 syllables like in English. Xe, xe. Like S, we say X with 2 syllables. And since we can end a syllable with a stop K, we don't need to squeeze in another vowel after the K sound. Y, Y. Yi said, yi said. We don't have the Z sound in Cantonese, so we substitute that with the S sound. And probably because we feel something is still missing, we put an extra syllable before the S sound to simulate the voicing of the Z sound. But it's not an important sound, so we say it in low tone and say the Z part in high tone. So that's the 26 English alphabets in the Cantonese accent. Here I'd like to summarize a few important points about Cantonese. First, syllables must be said in some pitch pattern, even when we say English words. Like A, B, C, etc. must be said high and flat, and F, H, L must be said in high to low tone pattern. Second, every syllable is said with roughly the same length, even if the tones are different. Third, Cantonese doesn't have voiced stops like the or ba, voiced affricates like je, or voiced fricatives like the or the. When we say English words, we usually replace them with unaspirated voiceless consonants. Fourth, the only consonants that syllables can end with are the PTK stops and the M, N, NG sounds. So that's all for this video. Thank you for watching. Hope you had fun learning something about Cantonese. See you next time.